everybody. It's Kenny K again, and I wanted to talk to you about a horror movie from 1980, Night of the Demon, directed by James C. Wasson. Um, it's basically a story about a professor called Professor Nugent and his study and his students uh, who want to go to on an adventure to find this mysterious night of this demon creature they're referring to. Um, so they organize a party to go to the woods, and apparently there has been a lot of deaths around those woods where they're going. So, like now, for example, this thing is with this movie is you've got these people just hiking and sitting in a boat and then going down a river, and in the meantime you get to another scene where, and these are explicit gory scenes, where a fisherman, apparently one of the students, Carla, because the students called Roy, Linda, Carla, Pete, and Gary. Now, Carla, as her dad was a fisherman and was fishing there, and he gets, mauled by the creature, and then his arm gets ripped off. So it's pretty gory, yeah. Um, then they go back to the students who are trying to or having some fun. They're having some camping fun. They're not they're not in any danger at this point, but at the same time, you have these other girls far a lot further away that are doing the same thing at a campfire, sitting on a blanket, and these two girls are getting killed by this the demon. It's actually the demon is just a Sasquatch, uh, and the thing is, it's a funny kill because one of the girls has a knife, and she's swinging with it and swinging with it, and the demon, I would say, the Sasquatch takes a hold of her hand, takes the other girl, and starts pushing the girl against the knife. So it's like she is being stabbed by her other girl, her friend, but she's being pushed against the blade, and then eventually, yeah, he kills her by mauling her to some weird kills, and then at some point they arrive at this um, guy they knew. He was a lead. He knew more about the Bigfoot or not Bigfoot or demon or whatever. He's called Mr. Carlson. He's living there in the sticks with his wife, and he doesn't want to be interviewed. And one of these guys, is acting like a little bit of a douche, and he's saying, "I'm gonna sit here until he comes back," because he took his car and drove away. And Carlson comes back, and the guy is still there. And eventually, Carlson gives in, and he says, "It's a hairy creature. It will attack everybody here on this terrain. You should go before it's too late, and of course they don't believe him. Now, at some point, after this very short explanation, she also says there's a person called Wanda, but he calls her Crazy Wanda. Uh, she says he points on the map where she is approximately. Now, he said, but if I were you, I won't go. So um, what they do is they go back. They first had a boat with a motor engine, and the boat was gone with all their supplies, all their food, everything gone. And uh, they found a big imprints on it, like a Bigfoot imprint. The thing, this movie, it always end okay. Then it goes back to a kill. You've got a hatcher who doesn't like Sasquatch doesn't like to do that. The guy who's hatching wood in his forest, so he takes the axe and he axes him to death. Okay, so and you can see it. It's explicit gore. Then you've got a guy who, and this crosses always over to the students, and then a hapless victim. They've got a guy on a motorcycle who wants to take a piss in no man's land, and when he gets out his penis and his complete junk gets ripped off. So, I mean, pretty horrific kills. Now, at some point, they find this one, that girl. No, before they do, Pete, one of the members, have to take a piss, and they're camped out. It's night, but Pete is the first to go. Pete gets his head smashed in against a tree. Now this is a little bit of spoiler alert. What happens here next on, because the movie starts out with one guy who's alive. That's Professor Nugent. He apparently survived everything, but he's completely in wrapped in with medical. He has medical straps on. He can't really, like 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 a brace and things like that. He can't talk. He can't talk. He can like subscribe things. He can write things down. Because there are detectives there and they want to know more, because there's been a massacre, and that massacre is apparently students, but for some reason they didn't find those girls on the cloud, the fisherman, the axe guy, the guy whose junk is teared off, and I think there a few more people that there were a lot more to this kill list. There's like at least 3 or 4 more kills that the Sasquatch kills, but they're not talking about that. They're talking about the massacre of his students. Okay, so for some reason the other ones are retconned by the detective, but So the next morning, they don't find Pete. They think he bolted because he didn't want to go anyways to that Wanda chick's home. And Nugent says, "Come on, we still have to go on. We are so close, you know." And eventually they go on, and Wanda, crazy Wanda, opens the door, and she is saying, "Come in, come in." She is. You cannot clearly see that there's something wrong with her. She's very isolated there. She doesn't have friends. She doesn't have family. She's sitting there all alone. And the thing is that she tells her about her father, who was a reverend, and she had a sexual encounter, and she had a baby. Now, it's never explained that the sexual encounter was between the baby or the reverend, because the reverend was so angry at the baby that he basically threw it in the fire. And Wanda became so crazy that he got. She put a box of kerosene over him and put him on fire. So, but but I don't understand why. So there is something that the Bigfoot, the Sasquatch, he doesn't want to kill her for some reason. I don't understand why. There's never an explanation in this movie, because at some point the Bigfoot tries to get in. They lock all doors. They have one gun. They shoot willy nilly through the the holes of the wall of the wooden wall, hoping that they can, you know, hit him, but no. And eventually comes in and it massacres at least Gary and Carla. Gary gets he gets ripped apart, and Carla gets her guts ripped out. So she fucked up. Then Linda, Roy, and Nugent they lock themselves up in the back cabinet. But of course, the Sasquatch, it's a house like, you know, it's an old house. Everything breaks down. It comes in, and eventually he kills Linda with a pitchfork through the face. He kills the other guy. He picks him up and throws him on a piece of wood that's sticking upwards, so he's impaled. And then what happens with Nugent is he starts to wail on him and smashing on him, and apparently he survived that. And then he apparently just survived and woke up in this hospital. So there's this weird thing, and then they got this ending where basically, you know what, this guy, he's our culprit. He killed everybody. This Bigfoot malarkey is bullshit. He killed everybody. He he's the only one who could. Let's just get the crap and let's get him to court when he's able to. Bam, movie ends. Thing is that, okay, so first of all, the characters. The positives, the negatives. The positives are the gore. You've got a lot of gore, an explicit gore. Yeah, this is probably one of the most gory Bigfoot movies that I ever seen, because this Bigfoot is really vicious. Um, the characters, nah, somewhat hammy and stupid decisions, and yeah, some are douchebags, and you don't root for Professor Nugent and his students. Let me put it that way. Um, Wanda, the moment you hear about her story, you're immediately, oh, that's so sad. And when the creature comes in, uh, I think there's a moment she says, don't make him angry, and because he will kill you, and then eventually they don't listen, and they, fire at him, poke at him with knives, um, and like I just told you, they get all, at least Roy, Linda, Carl, and Gary uh, get massacred. Pete is already killed in the woods, um, and Nugent gets just punched to pieces. Basically, he gets punched so hard that he basically probably has no teeth in his mouth. It's just pulp in his face. I mean, uh, so like I said, you didn't. The gore of the positive is the gore of the Sasquatch is good. The students, Professor Nugent and his students, they're hammy actors, not the best actors. Some of them are douchebags. Some of them are um, stupid, um, and like I said, somebody should have stayed behind the boat with all their supplies. No, they camp miles away from it. It's a boat. It's not a canoe. It's a motorboat, and you know what? And the next day it's gone. It could have even been a looter or something. It didn't need to be uh, Bigfoot. Bigfoot probably a big if it was Bigfoot, he pushed it back in the river and he went down the river. What I did like, uh, so other positives is that you constantly saw the students, because that would be a drag if we have to see this movie constantly through the lens of these students. No, that these um, kills are happening in between. Like the wood the wood hacker, the girls that are having it wasn't that night they were having lunch on a blanket. The girl that was stabbing, he was punching each other, and I think the thing was, so they both had knives, and they were standing, took her by the backs, and they were stabbing each other like this. That was a stupid kill, a silly kill, but a fun kill. The guy who gets his entire junk ripped off. That's, ooh, fuck. Ooh, man, that was cringy. Jesus. So I like that they sort of intertwined with that. So, now the negatives are, like I said, the students not likable. Professor Nugent and his students aren't likable characters. Uh, the only character that you sort of feel for is Wanda, but then again, she apparently has the power to Bigfoot doesn't hurt her, and she has the power to basically calm him down. But apparently, the moment that he knows they're in the house, he sees them as trespassers, and she can't calm him down anymore, especially when they're shooting at him. They're shooting at, like I said, but they're boarding up the windows and they're shooting through the windows because the thing is in front of punching through the windows and they're shooting against them. But like I said, they she that's what I so Wanda is like I said, Wanda, you feel for her. She acts the part as a emptyless soul that lost her child and tries to warn them to get out. It's not specifically saying why, but then when Bigfoot arrives, she says he will get angry if you don't get away, and then he, of course, he gets angry because he sees them as trespassers, and then shit hits the fan. And also the ending is so stupid. So the guy couldn't talk. He could only scribble some things on a piece of paper. And he's fucking suspected by the fucking detective that he killed like 5 people. He killed 5 people. Plus like all the 10 people, what happened to them, because Bigfoot didn't took him with him. He left him there. So that ending was so stupid, so lazy. Yeah, and Bigfoot itself, luckily they didn't put the camera. You only see Bigfoot in full glory in the house of Wanda, but they don't put the camera too long on it because basically it's a guy in an ape costume. Okay, so now I'm giving this movie a 5.5 because of the cheesy silliness and the cheesy kills and the silly dialogues. Although, like, you have a really serious dialogue between the Reverend and I killed that the fucking baby, fucking son of a bitch. But then you have these silly people that are the victims, these hapless victims that are doing silly things or just or like, come on, it's like, okay, now start to act, and when I say go, you just have a good time and you die. Now go. Yeah, so that was it felt like yeah, okay, the guy with okay, you will arrive and you have to take a piss, and from the moment you take a piss, you're going to have you're gonna have a lot of pain. Okay. And it's like that. It felt so silly, cheesy, but gory at the same time, and it was fun. It was fun. It's a fun Bigfoot movie, and luckily, those students, are there just to be, fucked up. Luckily, so and that absurd, those two. So these two girls have a knife, and they're swinging at the Bigfoot, and apparently the Bigfoot can hold the neck of one of the girls, and then the other girl's neck too, and then starts to hit them with their heads against each other. And in the meantime, they're stabbing each other. It's, oh, it's like I said, silly but fun. So I'm giving it a 5.5. It's an okay watch, a popcorn movie. So subscribe, and let's have more silly and horrific moments together. Bye bye.